Hello everyone, welcome to the Band of Brothers podcast. I'm Elton, this is Andy.
Hello.
And we have got Karen, I always mispronounce this, Carentan. Carentan. There we go.
Well, it's French though, isn't it? So it's Carentan. Carentan.
Right, goodbye to our French listeners as well. Excellent. Yes, so we've got this to cover. This is part 3, if I'm rightly thinking about it.
Well, it's our 4th podcast, but it's part 3 of Band of Brothers.
Yes, yeah. That's the way we fly at the moment. All
fuck yeah,
hunky-dory and higgledy-piggledy all over the place, but who cares? We are not specialists in the military.
The enemy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We are not specialists, we have not served, but we are just fans of this show. I feel like I need to say that, just in case, just to cover our asses sometimes. You never know when the next sniper is out there.
I was going to say, yeah, you say you cover your ass, but you might get a Purple Heart.
Oh, yeah. Bit like Popeye. Did he get a Purple Heart? He must have. He must have.
He was shot by the enemy. Yeah, he must have done.
Yeah. Just didn't see it.
Oh, well. Didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Oh, well. Right, okay.
Straight up Main Street.
Initial impressions of Carentan. Or Carentan. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to go with my stupid English accented way. Carentan.
Are you asking me?
Yes, I am.
I remember this being my least favourite episode of Band of Brothers, and I'd probably stand by it. There's good bits in this, but do you want me to get into why I don't particularly like this, or do you want me to just leave it
go for it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my biggest problem with this basically is Albert Blythe, because this is really the first time we've been introduced to him. And the thing is, they went to all that trouble of introducing the characters and everything in Cure here at the beginning, and so we got to know them, we got a bit of a sense about them, and then they just drop us in with Albert Blythe in this episode, and we don't see him again after this episode, and it almost felt like he was just, guest of the week. It's like an episode of The Next Generation, and today we're following Ensign Timmy on his rounds around Deck 6.
Okay.
And all your favourite cast are still there. There's Captain Picard, there's Riker, but they just kind of walk by and say hello and they're off. And I'm like, no, I want to go and see what they're doing. I want to go and see I want to go that way. But no, we're following Albert Blythe. And it's an interesting story. The aspects about post-traumatic stress disorder and, or shell shock and stuff like that, I think that's interesting and definitely worth looking into and exploring. I just think that because it was with someone we just haven't had a chance to get to know, the impact's gone. It's wasted in that respect. Imagine if they'd have just, even if it's a couple of scenes in Cure where you see him in basic, we just touch base with him on Day of Days, and we see him drop, and the bit when he talks about falling asleep. If we could have just seen these moments and then come to this, it would have had a much greater impact, I think, and would have been meaningful. But it just felt a bit disjointed because we start off on the 6th on the drop itself when he's there staring at the parachute. Then we jump to 6 days past and Carentan and all that, and then at the end we do this weird 25 days later jump, and it just felt really bitty and disjointed.
Yeah.
So that's I mean it's just the whole episode just feels a bit uneven.
Yeah. I get it. I get why you feel like that as well. Don't
get me wrong, there's some great bits in there, but the Battle of Carentan is great. I mean, it reminded me so much of the end of Saving Private Ryan. Mm-hmm. And there's beautiful moments. And I mean, I tell you what, bits when... who's the guy who takes a medical shot to the face? Oh, I can't remember his name now.
Is it... Oh, hang on. I've got his name written down somewhere. Tipper or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean that for me had more emotional impact just from when the other guys come up to him and they walk around the corner and they're just shocked and they're like holding him and everything, and it's like that had so much more impact than everything that happened to Blythe because I knew these guys. Mm-hmm. I spent time. I got a sense of who they were, and it just felt more real. Whereas everything with Blythe just felt a little bit dreamlike, I mean, to be perfectly honest, until I knew this episode was coming up, I'd completely forgotten about him as a character. He just doesn't have any impact over the course of a series because he's in it so briefly.
Maybe it would have paid to, as you say, drop him in on the first or second episode. Just a glimpse, even just to see him land.
Yeah, just a couple of instances I think would have gone a long way, to help us. I mean, you've got what's his name, Luz, doing the impressions and all that, and we didn't see him in Day of Days, but we saw him in Curahi.
Yeah.
So that's fine. All of a sudden, I remember you did a fun thing with in the first episode. You did the voices. Okay, fine. I've seen you at play. I know everyone knows you. I know there's a connection there. That would have had more impact. But I mean, Blythe is just a bit bland. And again, nothing against the guy playing him. Who was it? It was Mark Warren. Mark Warren does a great job. It feels almost like they've squeezed the story arc down to just do one episode with him, just so they can get it done, get him out, and be done with it. Yeah,
I feel he's he's a trailer for the story of the stress disorder.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I totally think it's worthwhile having that story told and having that aspect to be explored. It's just because we haven't seen this guy, he just comes across as a coward, as someone with no guts or anything like that. His whole hysterical blindness thing. Because we haven't seen him bonding with people, we haven't gotten the impression that they like him or dislike him or what have you. We haven't seen how did what's his name, Sobel. Did Sobel bully him and all this? We haven't gotten any sense of how he interacts with the rest of Easy Company until now, and it's weird. It's like all of a sudden you've turned up for Christmas dinner, and there's an uncle sitting at the table. Everyone seems to get on and say, yeah, they know his uncle, but you've never seen him in your life. And you're like going, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. It would have been, if someone has seen Blythe in the first two episodes, then please let us know, point it out, or just give us a frame number or a count number where we can actually find him. But we've seen Fassbender in this more times than Blythe. Mm-hmm. So...
we saw Simon Pegg more times than we've seen Blythe.
Yeah, this is true, yeah. And so it's a clunky gear change. Mm-hmm. It's one I feel we need because we need to know how the soldiers are feeling.
Absolutely, but I just feel it could be better served by telling the story with some of the other members of Easy Company.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's kind of stymied by we're following the book Band of Brothers, and Winters wrote about Blythe in this chapter or whatever. He mentioned it. But I just feel because they haven't taken the time earlier to introduce the character and let us meet him and get to know him, I have no emotional investment in him.
Yeah.
It's like as soon as we see him, it's like, okay, what's your story? And by the end of it, you're like, okay, he's out, and that's it.
Yeah,
it matters not an iota. I've got no real investment there.
Yeah, if that had been carried over maybe 2 episodes, then we would have grown to become attached to him a little bit more.
Well, yeah, even if they'd have just dropped the scenes from earlier on into Day of Days, so when they first meet up with him, and just kind of, even if he was just in there and it carried over into it, it probably have had more of an impact than what it has. But yeah, after, again, it's always going to have a hard job following Day of Days because Day of Days is just such a fucking powerful episode.
Yeah, it's just a kick in the groin, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah. And then even when you get over to the next episode, the next episode, again, it's got, you're with familiar characters. And in the next episode, they deal with introducing new characters a lot better because they're characters that are going to be throughout the series to an extent. But this one, it's a weird little... It's just, I don't want to say a misstep because I think that's wrong. It's just a weird tonal shift compared to what we've seen on the other episodes.
Yeah.
Incidentally, you forgot to mention about the veterans at the beginning, just in case that was going to be a thing.
No, we haven't got onto that yet. We're just doing
okay.
Initial
we're just
thoughts.
Doing the impressions. Okay.
I like your arse covering though. That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
We're
My
going to
initial
get a purple heart one with the other.
yeah. Why not? My initial thoughts. I am a little bit like you. It is a clunky gear change for me, where we haven't been really introduced to this guy up until the point where we see him staring up at the sky, and it is like a Monster of the Week episode.
What's even weirder as well is that he's part of Easy Company. If he was one of the other companies who kind of got subpoenaed into Easy, like we saw with the radio operator, Able Company, last time out, I'd have been more forgiving about that then, because it'd be a case of, okay, he's a stranger, he doesn't know these people, but he's been forced to be here. But no, he's part of Easy Company. But this is the first time we're meeting him.
He's part of Easy, but isn't that split?
It's split into platoons. So you've got a company, and I think it's 4 platoons. Yes, because Winters is 3rd platoon, Nixon was 2nd platoon, and Hester was 1st platoon at the beginning. So it's 3 platoons. So even so, because he's from Easy Company, it feels even worse. If it was a case of, okay, fine, this is a guy from Dog Company or Fox Company or one of those, and he had to go in with Easy, because he's making up the numbers.
Yeah,
I'd have been more okay with that, because then you've got a sense that he's a stranger to these other people as well.
Yeah, that might have settled a bit better.
Yeah, I think that's just what makes it a bit uneasy there.
Yeah, I think the issue is still well done, because we do need to see the soldiers going through every type of emotion. We need to see, not cowardice. I don't perceive this as cowardice. This is more trauma and mental and physical trauma from what they're going through.
Yeah,
it's 3 days ago.
It's PTSD.
Yeah, 3 days ago they're in England.
Oh yeah,
and then
they were in England, getting their laundry done, and just chilling and lying on the ground next to Dakotas.
Yeah, so I totally get what he's going through, or try to understand what he's going through, but like you say, it's just a bit. It's a bit too much of a left turn just to take this character on straight away.
Yeah,
but that's what we're dealt with. And I don't think it really happens anymore, does it? This is the only clunky bit.
This is, like I said, this is my least favourite episode. Yeah. But even so, it's still a damn good episode.
Yeah.
There's great bits throughout here. It's just the bits with focusing solely on Blythe are kind of like these weird, like, out-of-body experiences almost.
Yeah. Like we're watching third person over the shoulder of all the company. Yeah,
a little bit. But yeah, other than that, it's again, the battle sequences are great. We're getting some good development from Winters. Moving into the role of the commander of Easy Company.
Yeah.
I liked the battle because again, I felt a lot more emotional impact when some of those guys are getting wounded, like when the platoon sergeant got shot and he's looking down at his bloody groin, and he's just like rips the trouser, goes, "Don't worry, everything's where it needs to be."
Yeah. No, I get you. Okay, right. Well, should we get into the episode? I don't know if we're going to do it a different way this week. I'd like to go bit by bit, but maybe not as harsh because there is so much going on in this episode.
Oh, sure.
So
well, I'll take my lead from you, sir.
Maybe take section by section and talk about the sections individually.
Sure.
So we open with our heroes, the men that did actually go through this.
Yes, the actual men of Easy Company.
And fucking hell, if that's not gonorrhea, the first guy that turns up.
Oh, it is so Garnier. It's so Garnier. And the guy they got playing Garnier, Frank John Hughes.
Yeah.
Looks so much like Bill Garnier. It's uncanny. It's like, and sounds like him as well. They got the voice down pat.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, that is. There's no titles. We don't know who this is, but it's like, as soon as you know, it's Garnier.
Yeah, it's such an excellent job. Fucking hell, man, it's superb. But that's what I love about it, because we haven't had any titles. Once again, we still haven't got any names to these fellows. We have just got gentlemen talking to us about their experiences. We know that they're the guys that have fallen or parachuted in, but we don't know who they are. But as soon as you see him, you're like, he didn't even have to open his mouth. You're like, bang, gotcha.
It's gone here.
Oh, it's superb. But they're talking about they're worried about being killed instantly, or if they weren't going to get killed instantly, they'll make it all the way through the war without a total scratch. Everyone had fear, and they didn't want to let themselves down, because you'd be letting yourselves down and your company as well.
I mean, they're talking about fear. They're
Yeah.
talking about, and again, it's this. When people look back at it, they always say, "Oh wow, how could you have done this?" And all. But thinking that they weren't terrified. Whereas the truth of the matter is, they were all scared shitless.
Yeah.
If you weren't scared, you weren't paying attention.
No, that's totally correct. Yeah, it's there was another line. You have to handle your fear and accomplish what you're supposed to be doing, and it's just okay. Put everything else to the back of your mind and just get on. And that's what this story is all about today. That's what this episode is all about, because we get that from Spears later on.
Mm-hmm.
Just stick it to the back of your mind, and as soon as you accept it, then you can act as a soldier.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we open up 8th of June, 1944, Normandy in France.
Yep. So this is the second day on the ground. They parachuted in on the 9th. They parachuted in morning of the 6th.
Yep.
Because 6th was D-Day. 7th was them day of days, taking out the guns and everything there. This is the next day.
Okay, yeah. So the beaches have been stormed by this point.
They're on the beach trying to make roads inland.
Yeah. Okay, we got Blythe looking up, and he's almost bleary-eyed. He's, I don't know, he not seems shell-shocked, but almost doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be there. He's just looking up as if to say, "I was up there a couple hours ago. I want to be up there again."
Well, he's certainly staring up at the sky, kind of wistfully.
Yeah.
Which just seems out of place again. But this is our first introduction to the guy, so we don't know ins or outs. I mean, my first thought when I very first saw this was he was looking up at a body, because I thought there was a body in the tree. You see a parachute there, and there's a wreckage from a glider.
Yep.
But there's not. He's just looking at the sky.
Yeah, and we've still got gliders on fire as well.
Mm-hmm.
And all that sort of stuff. He meets up with some guys. I can't remember who they were, though.
It's Talbot, Powers, and Sisk.
Right, okay. Yeah, because we get to see them later on as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they take off and they go up and meet up with the rest of Easy Company.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't really get much time to settle down and get their bearings or anything like that. Straight away, they're off.
Yeah.
We have... we meet a couple of the guys from Easy Company as well. The guys with the watches. I can't remember his name now.
Is it Percont?
Yes.
Yeah, Percont. Yeah, he's like pulls up his sleeve and he's got like a dozen watches, all still ticking.
Yeah.
Unlike their owners.
Frank Percott, and we have Dukeman as well.
Yep.
There as well.
Mm-hmm.
Blythe. They're still asking about Mean, because that still hasn't been resolved.
Yeah, I mean they're saying company HQ. So when they say company HQ, they're talking about the lieutenant, the company sergeants. The people that basically run the company itself, the core of it, if you will.
Yeah.
Putting them all on one plane apparently.
Wasn't a good idea, was it?
No, not really. No.
I don't think they do that anymore, do they? Royal family doesn't fly on the same plane or the same helicopter. It just doesn't happen.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't think that would have a huge impact on any wars if they were taken out. But hey-oh.
How dare you? All our spirit would be drained and all our tea would dry up.
It's true.
Okay, so we've met some more of Easy Company. Libgot, he's got a Nazi flag already.
Yeah, he's got a flag.
And there's still talk about getting a Luger.
Oh, it's fucking Luger.
Oh, yeah, that's not going to go away, is it? That's really...
It will. It will go away, but not for an episode or two.
I can't blame them. You know, they must have been going for... What was the other souvenir that the other chap had? He had a... it was a camo type thing.
I think it was just one of their raincoats or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I know. I think later on, some guys got an SS knife with a swastika in it, and yeah, I mean, again, you know, it's just it's all about souvenirs.
Poncho? Is that the poncho? Because of later on, what happens?
Oh, it might well be that.
I think it might be.
That might well be why it happens later on. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, let's bear that in mind. It could possibly be that. Oh, dearie me.
I was going to say, I feel less bad for the guy stabbing him at that point, man.
I'm afraid you deserve that if you're wearing, yeah. Didn't have a Jerry hat on, but let's get to that in a minute. Welch, is it Welsh? Sorry, Welch. I can't pronounce his name. I can't pronounce anyone's name. If you listen to the Grand Prix podcast, you'll understand I don't know anyone's name. I'm terrible. I
think as well. Yeah.
He's taken control, and Easy Company are leading out.
Yeah. He's first platoon's commander.
Yeah, and Fox Company are following them as well, heading out. Yeah. They're going to Carentan. They've been told to take it. It's a position because the people on the beaches, once they've got clear of the beaches, they need to get into this position. It's their only way through before they can move on.
So Omaha and Utah beaches can link up.
Yeah. So it's a pinpoint. The Germans still want it, and the Americans want it as well, so we can continue on the war. And it's a very important part of that strategic plan. So they need to go along and take it. And we get Luz making funny little comments as well.
Oh yes.
Which is awesome.
It's great, and it's in keeping with what we know about him again, because he wasn't in Day of Days, so this is the first time we've seen him since Kyohi. Yeah,
and like you say, as soon as you see him, as soon as you hear his voice, and he's taking the mickey out of people, yeah, okay, you know exactly where you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we get some beautiful, picturesque type shots on here.
Oh yeah, I mean it's in the photography when they're going it's alongside the river with the fire. The fires everywhere, past the dead Germans and everything.
Oh.
You got Percont stealing another watch.
Yeah, that's grim, man. That is grim. But
yeah,
I think in the book it was someone else that took the watch. I'm sure it was. I can't remember who it was, but in the book I'm pretty sure someone trod on a German officer and it sighed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that happens, but it was someone else that took a watch. But yeah, in this, he just nabs it, and you can see him just checking it. During their walking over to Carentan, they lose F Company.
Oh yeah, as you do.
Oh, who doesn't lose F Company?
Oh yeah.
Crying out loud! I imagine if I had an F Company, I'd lose it at some point as well.
There's that nice comment with Winters and Nixon saying officers crapping out on their training.
Yeah, okay. What does that relate to? Is that just officers not? Is that not pulling their weight, or just not?
I think it's going back to. I think it's going back to officers like Sobel. Too focused on appearances, too focused on not fighting the war, just following the rules, if you will.
Okay.
They just don't know. That's how I read it anyway.
Right. Okay. So Welsh, he sends Hobler and Blythe to find F Company. That's when Winters and Nixon turned up as well.
Yeah.
So they find F Company, or they find one of the chaps from F Company, a yokel.
He's got those kind of like dead stare. He's the kind of guy who's going to murder you in a swamp.
And he'll smile about it. And he'll do it silently.
While the dueling banjos go off, it's... he's not the kind of guy you want to come stepping out of a bloody trees like that.
No, he's like a fucking crocodile in water.
Yeah. Creepy motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah. Who you calling a yokel?
Yeah.
I'm allowed to do that. I'm English. That's my God-given right to take the piss. So they find F Company, and then Blythe is sent back to grab Easy to bring it back up and join the companies back together. Mm-hmm. And on his way, he finds a dead German. Now, this is where kind of the story is all coming together at this point. We're having now build up, all join the separate paths together. And it's a dead German. We have Winters enter as well. And Nixon.
It's a German paratrooper.
Yeah, I can't remember what the German word for it is, but it is explained that it is a German paratrooper. Mm-hmm. And he had a flower on him.
An Edelweiss.
Edelweiss.
Yes.
And it's Nixon that explains where this comes from.
Yeah, only above the tree line in the Alps.
Now, do we know that for certain?
I believe so. I mean, there's a whole song in bloody The Sound of Music about them.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I need to watch
Which is also the intro for, if you watch The Man in the High Castle, it's the song at the beginning of that.
Oh, so, is it? Oh, okay.
Yep.
I watched 4 episodes and got a bit... No, I was spoiled on it. So I
don't let that stop you. It's well worth checking out, mate.
Okay, maybe I might try that again. Yeah, 4 episodes in, and some bastard spoiled it for me because he wasn't happy with it, and so he decided to spoil everyone else. Tosser, shall I say? I won't name any names, but Tosser.
No, name and shame.
No,
I'm not
doing that. I'm not doing that.
Oh, you could tell me off there then.
Yeah, we'll do. So we get the story about the flower. So that's all set in our mind as well. We skip along to D-Day +6. This is on the outskirts of Carentan.
Yeah.
This is a motherfucker, this town.
It is. It's one of 2 towns which kind of give Easy Company a lot of trouble over the course of the series.
What's the other one? Do
can't remember what it's called. It's the one when it's the snow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know the one I mean.
Yeah, I know where we are in that story, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because...
Oh, it's Bastogne, that was it.
Oh, okay.
Bastogne was that was in Belgium, but yeah. Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, it's a horrible entry into that town where you go over the rise. And you can see all the houses. You know you're going to get pinched. You have to know.
It's again, I think they're a bit blasé about it. Obviously they feel like we've landed, we've made our beachhead there, sort of thing. And everything's all good. And then all of a sudden, a couple of M42s open up, and that's going to ruin your day real quick.
Yeah, it's just the way that. Okay, you're going up the road. Oh, that's the obvious way into that town, so they would have that covered, surely, and they did. Mm-hmm. Would there be no other entries around? I think it's. Oh, I can't remember. Lipton takes a different way in. I know that for sure. Powers, he takes a different way in and ends up near a chicken coop.
Yeah.
So I know you're heading downhill as well. That's the problem with this is you have to go over that hill to get in. But as soon as Winters shows it because he's popping his head over that rise. And that's all you can see. If you're looking down that road and you've got your gun trained down that road, you can see his head just popping up and down every now and again. It's just a massacre waiting to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they were lulled into something of a false sense of security since they didn't open fire until they were coming down the rise.
Yeah.
If anything, they probably opened fire a bit too soon. But still, yeah, they opened up fire, and Easy Company all file into the trenches either side of the road.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's Winters and everyone trying to get the men out of the trenches because there's no cover there. So they get into the town, and we get the Battle of Carentan.
Yeah, it's gloriously portrayed.
It could have easily been the battle from the end of Saving Private Ryan. Like you could picture that's almost the same place.
Yeah, right. What we got to remember, this is a TV show. This would sit well in any war movie whatsoever.
Oh God, yeah,
Absolutely. You know, the way that it's shot, the explosions that we have there, the mess that it's made as well.
the cinematography was just great. It was just, and again, it's just the way how when people get shot, they don't go flying backwards. They don't scream and go oh and fall back. They just kind of collapse in a heap. Yeah. It's like there's a switch, and you see and the switch gets flicked, and they just go down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, yeah, so gloriously done. I think you know what I mean by gloriously done.
Yeah. I don't think he's celebrating the death of anyone here. He's just saying it's from a cinematographic standpoint, it's very well achieved.
Yeah. Anyone listening, that if you think that we're just like, oh yeah, that's bloody well good, I'm sure that we're happy that Germans and Americans and British people and French and all the others are dying like this. No, we don't mean it like that. It's we're appreciating what is on the screen portrayed to us. I just want to cover bases, just in case people think I'm a sicko and enjoy people actually dying. That's not the way it is. But what you get here, Winters forcing the men up and shouting, this is what happened. Winters did stand up there, and how he didn't take a bullet standing on that ridge, forcing his men out of the ditches either side of that road. I do not know. And he says he does not know as well. He doesn't know how he took a bullet.
Yeah.
But he did it, and he stood there, and he had that gun blazing all around him, and he got his men going. And that just shows you what a supreme leader he is.
Absolutely, yeah. But yeah, he gets his men into the town. I mean, quite a few get taken out just charging in, as you do. There's 2 machine guns opening fire, plus a sniper. You got Shifty Powers spots the sniper and manages to kill him.
Yeah. I love his thumbs up. His thumbs up is fucking awesome, man.
Oh yeah. You got the bit where he's by the chicken coop and that gets shot up, and you just hear him go, "Oh Jesus Christ!"
Well, he runs in, and then a guy immediately gets taken out straight after him.
Yeah.
And that must have been by the sniper anyway.
Yeah, well, obviously he must have picked up Powers running there and saw the second one and got him.
Yeah.
You've got, is it Tipper and Ludgott are the ones? No, they're the ones with a bazooka, and they open up. Who is it? It's
Welsh and Welsh and is it? No, it's not Lipton. Luz. Is it Luz? Yeah, I think
it might be Luz.
They get pinned down behind a brick wall.
Yeah. They get pinned behind a wall when they open fire, basically. But then, there's some covering fire, and he just runs in with his grenade. And it's just a glorious. He's running up there. He's holding the grenade. He lets it go, goes pchink, and he just lobs it in the window as he drops to the floor. And it goes boom.
Dude, that is superb the way they do that.
It is superb, and there's a beautiful shot a couple of minutes afterwards as well, where after Tipper and Ludgott taken out with a bazooka, this German comes out stunned, and Ludgott just pulls out his pistol and shoots him, and it's like a painting, just the way it's shot is framed. It's just such an amazing shot, not the bullet shot, the cinematographic shot. Just so we're clear on this.
Yeah. Well, it's a famous Band of Brothers picture.
Yeah, it is. But it's, that whole sequence is just amazing. And you got, again, Lipton running up to the railing, throwing a grenade into the apartment. They're just taking out the machine guns that were in this nest and all that, bit by bit. And then the mortar fire starts coming in on them. And all of a sudden, it's just like, get out of the street, get out. And this is when we pick up Blythe again, who starts running, but then he stops.
Yeah.
And just kind of slumps down the alley with, kind of a blank expression on his face.
Yeah, I remember watching this first time round. I thought, okay, he's bottling it. What the hell's going on? But he's not. That's the thing. He's not. That's what. If you're a stupid idiot like I was when I was first watching it, and you don't understand that, that's just ignorance from my point of view, that I just didn't understand what was really going on in his head. And What did they call it? They called it blind. I can't remember what blindness it was. It was
Hysterical blindness.
Hysterical blindness, yeah. And I suppose his body's just freezing at that point. His body's shutting down. It is a type of shell shock that his body just doesn't want to react to anything else and just curl up in a ball. It's the fight or flight syndrome where you... Also, there's a third tier where you just curl up in a ball.
Oh, it's again, I mean, shell shock itself is really just a severe form of PTSD. It's just I didn't know what else to call it. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much. It just overloads your brain, and your brain just says, nope.
Yeah.
Just nope. And yeah, I mean, again, I don't blame him at all. I mean, we see, like, as soon as he goes down, I can't remember who it is. I don't think it's anyone we've met yet. Is standing there and he gets his leg blown off. You know, it's like the shell just comes down, and it was a lot more gratuitous than I remembered it being. But you see his leg go flying off in a different direction. And he just lies there, and then is it Buck?
Yeah, it's Buck. Yeah,
it's Buck, and I think it's the first time we've seen. No, we saw him in Curehe, but we didn't see him in Day of Days. But yeah, Buck Compton. Just picks him up, sort of thing, and drags him inside.
Yeah, it's just a case of, okay, fine, put the gun down, pick the man up, and walk off with him.
Yeah.
It is startlingly done.
Yeah,
it's a shock to the system just to see that sort of stuff. You know, that's not even a direct hit. That's a ricochet off a mortar or artillery. I think that was artillery, wasn't it?
It was artillery, yeah. And it just came down, just blew his leg fillet off, sort of thing, and just sent him flying.
Yeah, we also have.
It wasn't Buck, by the way. It got him. It was Bull Randall.
Sorry, Bull. Yeah, Buck's the blonde guy, isn't he?
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry.
Buck, Bull, same difference. Well, you know who we meant.
Yeah, Bull is the guy who plays. Why can I not remember anyone's name? He's a guy in Walking Dead, and I can see him. Fucking hell! Oh, I'm not going to go there. Oh dear. We have Hobbler and Luz. They clearing out the rooms as they go. Hobbler and Luz. Luz doesn't want to throw a grenade in, because we've seen this in one building where they throw the grenade in and then they go in shooting after and make sure the Germans are dead. Yeah. This time round, Hobbler is telling him, throw the grenade in. He doesn't. He freezes. He thinks twice about it, should we say, not freezes. And they just burst in through the door, and there's a French family there.
Yeah, and there's a little family, and
see on their faces.
It clicks that if they'd have done that, they'd kill that family, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, you just got to think how many times that happened and how many times it didn't happen, so...
Yeah.
Wow.
You've also got Lipton still trying to clear the streets, takes another shell nearby and goes flying. That's when he gets his bloody thigh.
Yeah, this was portrayed as it was in the book. He took this round, and in the book it says that it threw him against a building, and he was still holding his gun when he landed. And they show this in this shot here. This is how he has portrayed it. And yeah, but he takes a hefty hit, and you can just see him look down his bloody trousers. You're like, oh shit, oh no. Little Lipton, oh dear, little Lipton's disappeared.
Yeah, of all the wounds, that's the one you don't want to see.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's all right.
Mm-hmm.
He's all right. So,
as well as you can be for someone who's just had a shell explode in front of them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We've already spoken about Blythe, and the guys taken out.
It's Tipper who goes into the medical store. Again, clearing room still with Leibgott. Yeah. And Leibgott, he's the one that goes into the back, and he shouts over to the shed. Is anyone there? Anyone there? And he just kind of he fires into it a couple of times. Because I always thought he was going to get killed because he didn't check it properly and someone was going to open the door and shoot him or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But no, he turns around, he takes like 3 steps, and the building just explodes.
Is this artillery or is this something else?
I think it's artillery. Yeah. Sorry, it wasn't like it was tipper, but yeah, it's. I think it's an artillery shell to struck the building.
Right, because the windows blew out.
They blew out, but I think that was just an effect of the special effect.
Right. Okay.
They wouldn't have rigged the building with any explosives or anything like that. There was no time and no point. But yeah, the thing all explodes basically, and you got this really. It's almost like a classic horror shot where Tipper's coming out, going, "Hello, is anyone there?" Still holding his rifle, and that's when Lee got and all that come around, and they see his face, and they're just like, "Oh God," Yeah. And he runs over and helps him down and holds on to him and says, "You're going to be okay, buddy. You're going to be okay." And says, "Do you want to go give me a hand here?" And then you just see his face is just completely mangled down one side. Both his eyes, I think, are gone. And his leg is just... How he was standing, I've got no idea, because it's just a mess of meat.
Yeah.
He's got a hole in his shoe, still smoking. It's just, it's grim.
Do you know what I appreciate about this scene here?
What's that?
It's the sound.
It's all muffled, yeah.
But it goes... Normally you get this... When they do this type of shell shock type thing where you've been concussed and you can only hear narrowly, I would imagine it. They normally go for like a little whiny noise in the background, like white noise in the background, squealing, tinnitus type thing. And then everything fades in. This time, everything's really bassy. It goes really bassy, and then it transfers all the way over to treble. Then everything else bleeds back in. And it's almost painting a picture for you, just in sound. But I've never heard it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I've never heard it done like that before. The way it goes from bass to treble, and then everything bleeds back in. It just works so well, and I feel that is more. It works better for me.
Yeah.
Than for any other movie that's done that sort of. It's a neat little trick, and it works.
It's a big thing in computer games, like Call of Duty and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When there's an explosion goes nearby. But yeah, it's done so well here.
Yeah, but I feel they did it right this time round. Once all this is going on, we also have a Father Maloney, he's named as.
Yeah.
And he's reading last rites to soldiers that have fallen.
Yeah.
What?
While under fire as well. I mean, there's still shells coming down and fires going backwards and forwards. But he's still doing his thing.
Would the clergy have, the first aiders? They have their white armband with the red cross on the side. Would the clergy have anything like that at all?
He does. Yeah. He I think it's a medic band on his arm, but
okay.
He's got something on his left arm. I thought it was a red cross, but don't quote me on that.
Right. And are there rules of war where that is?
They're supposed to be afforded. They're supposed to be afforded the same as medics. You're not supposed to target them, I don't believe.
Right.
But it's always. I don't think it's so much a rule of war as a unwritten rule. Again, someone knows better than us can correct us, but I mean, I was just reading a book about the Battle of Britain and how the RAF would shoot down German rescue planes with red crosses on them in the war, because the British didn't bother putting red crosses on them because they were like, if you're picking up pilots to take them back to the front, you're a legitimate target.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the ins and outs of that are.
I think with vehicles, it may be different. Because when they're British ships with the Red Cross...
Hospital ships were exempt. Hospital ships were not supposed to be targeted. But
they were, though.
They weren't supposed to be, but they were. But yeah, it was... all I'm saying is I don't know.
Yeah. You'd like to think so, though.
You would like to think so. But then again, you're there in the middle of a field. You got smoke, you got debris everywhere. Especially for lightning support, you're not going to necessarily know one way or the other. So, you got to say that the priest and the medics there are under huge risk to themselves, and usually unarmed, usually aren't carrying weapons. So.
Yeah, well, that just impedes their mobility, doesn't it? So
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, fine. Germans start retreating then.
Yeah, they start, run away!
Yeah, and then they're gunned down. Fucking hell. They're gunned down exactly the same as Winters and all that lot were as they were coming in. But they're going over the flooded fields.
They're going over the fields. They've got some machine guns opening up on them and all that. But again, as they said last time out in when they were taking the guns, if you let them get away, they're just going to come back at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Saving Private Ryan proved that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So no Steamboat Willies here.
No. Okay, so the town is taken. Let's say almost taken. They need to wean out a couple more Germans that are knocking around. They need to clear.
Yeah, there's a couple. Town. We get the Lone Ranger turns up on silver with a message. So I like to think he's rode that horse all the way here from the UK. Or one of those landing transport ships. He's just
And why he's on the landing transport, the horse is still galloping. Almost...
No, it's just standing. It's just standing there minding its own business. It storms up the beach. He needed a sword, though. I feel like he can't be on a horse without a sword.
Yeah. Or maybe a joust.
Yes, but it's a messenger just asking. He's reporting that the Germans are in retreat to the north of them, and Winters reports that they've cleared everything to the south of them. And he goes off. And then you've got Battalion HQ, so it's Colonel Strayer and Lieutenant Nixon and all that, standing in cover while Winters is out in the open saying, "Is it safe? Is it safe?" And he's like, yeah, it's safe.
I love that. But it's a case of... Winters, is it safe? And he looks at him and goes, "Pardon, what? Is it safe to cross? We've got men. We need to take these injured across." Like, yeah. But clearly it wasn't, though. So it is a good call.
Yeah, well, absolutely, because then a sniper fires, misses Winters, but the ricochet catches him in the leg.
Yeah.
And he goes hopping off, and thus ends the opening battle of Carentan.
So that is done.
That is done.
Okay, so Winters is taken back to be seen about his injury. They pull out the ricochet bullet.
We've got Doc Rowe again. Old Doc Rowe.
Yep, and we'll see him bopping around in a few more episodes as well. So that's nice.
He gets a whole episode to himself. He does.
Yeah, that's one of my favourites. I feel.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but I said one of the reasons why it's one of my favourites is because he's such an important character. He isn't really the focus in anything up until that point, but he's there.
Yeah.
Throughout it, which is what's wrong with this episode with Blythe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can forgive them because it's the third episode. We've had the train. Can we? No, well, we've already dealt with it.
Again, we don't want to go back over it, but again, there is no reason why he couldn't have been in the earlier episodes. But we've said our piece about that anyway.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, so we bump into Blythe again. Winters has a chat with him, and he has hysterical blindness as he's speaking to him. He can't see anything. He said, "No, I just can't see anything." And then Winters touches him on the shoulder, almost like a guardian angel.
I was going to say, it's like he's Jesus, because I'm healed.
Yeah. JC, well, thank you very much. And he stands up, and he does look a bit bemused, shall we say?
Yep.
Leaves his M1 on the side.
Says, "I don't know what happened, but I think I'm okay," and he's out.
Yeah, well, Winters tells him to stay around for a bit. I don't know if he did or not, but yeah. I think also in the book, this is... Blythe does meet Winters back at the hospital part, but that's all that's really mentioned about Blythe, from what I remember. It's been ages since I've read it, but yeah, from what I remember anyway. What else? We have a little talk about the mystery of Spears. Shall we get into?
Yes. Yes. First Lieutenant Spears. His reputation seems to be growing.
This is the mystery that we were talking about in the second episode.
Oh yeah.
This is it building up. This is the, for want of a better 1980s reference, Chinese whispers that are happening.
Scuttlebutt.
Yeah. There was a dinosaur behind him, and there was a spacecraft as well.
He rode it. He rode up the beach on the back of a velociraptor.
Guns blazing, chest out.
Guns. Flamethrowers, my friend.
Flamethrowers. Yes.
I still maintain he would make an amazing judge.
Yes, he would. He's fucking awesome.
Judge Spears, man. It's got to be done.
Well, the way that they tell these stories as well, because now these whispers have built up to, well, I heard it was 20 men and they were digging trenches, and then he handed all the cigarettes around, and then he just got Thompson and blazed them all. And then there's a mystery of one person left as well.
Oh yeah, with a cigarette burning his fingers, and I heard it wasn't him; it was someone else. And it's a nice little touch that again is referenced again later on as well.
Do you know what I love? That we don't know about this either.
Oh yeah, we don't know, and it's never we never get a direct answer, which is great.
Yeah.
But then again, as someone points out, they go, all I heard is he took one of the guns almost single-handed, and then I think it's Malarkey's like, I did see that.
That's right, yeah, because they were just storming in and out of the trenches. He wasn't even in the trench, was he?
Yeah, he just fuck this, motherfuckers.
Yeah, they could turn around and say, yeah, he was on a velociraptor. Yeah, okay, fine, I believe you.
Yeah,
no problems whatsoever.
It was Pencala, and he says Spears took a 105 by himself. He ran through MG fire like a maniac.
Oh man, this is one of the things I really do love about Band of Brothers, just the mystery behind this guy. And we've got so much to talk about that later on as well. There's a certain scene where I just flipping love it. I adore it, and I could watch it again and again. But I'll get to that
we'll save it for when we get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, while they're doing all this, they're asking Blythe, so what does he think about it? And Blythe's just like, well, I don't know. He's a bit out of it. It's if this was a Vietnam film, I'd think Blythe was just stoned all the time.
Yeah, it'd fit straight into that, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's trying to come to terms to where he is as well.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think he's trying to understand what it is to be a soldier. It's probably a situation where he's terrified. They're all terrified, but the others are just better at concealing it or dealing with it or something. I don't know.
Maybe it's a case of some of them are terrified. But like Garnier, he needed to get that first kill out of his system to get into the game. And that's it. Okay, fine. We're in now.
Mm-hmm.
And he accepts where he is. And Blythe hasn't really gone through that yet. He's just
not yet.
Following along yet at the moment. So, anyway, they're moved out again. And
they're heading to. They want to hold the town because it's important to the Germans as it is to the Americans. But rather than try and hold it in the town, they're going to go to high ground because they've seen Revenge of the Sith, and they know that if you have the high ground, it's over, Anakin.
Don't. No, that doesn't wash with me here.
You are my brother!
Fuck off.
Sorry.
Honestly, no, that doesn't wash here. God, I hate them films now. I really do. okay, tangent. They had the clone film on TV the other day.
No, you poor man.
And well, that's my least favourite of all of them. I hate that film. But I thought, do you know what? I'll give it 5 minutes, and if I like it, I'll try and watch it to the end. I didn't even give it 5 minutes. I just ended up, no, life is too short. Life is far too short now.
If I can just do a small plug before the end, Space Doc Jury this week, or it'd been last week when this came out, we all rate all of the Star Wars films. I think you'll be pleasantly unsurprised as to where that one came.
Good. Hopefully below Caravan of Courage. Or the Battle of Endor. Please tell me you put them in there as well.
We'll have to listen to find out.
Okay. Oh, nice. I like your professionalism. That's good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good.
I learned from the best.
Well, it weren't for me. Okay, so we're heading up to take this
to high ground.
Yeah, to the high ground. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Picante wondering why is it always us in the middle? You know, we're never at. We're never at the front. We're never at the back.
No, they're always at the front. They're never in the middle.
Yes, that's right. They're always at the front. They're never in the easier places. Pointing out that they are the 5th of 9 companies.
Yeah.
Able through item.
Yeah, and it starts pissing down with rain as well.
Yep, as you do. And then it starts pissing down with artillery shells.
Yeah.
Or mortars.
Out of the blue as well. And so it is an elevated position that the Germans have on.
Oh, yes.
Across
well,
the
it turns out that the Germans had already effectively left Carentan because Winter says, I thought that was too easy.
See, yeah.
You think that was easy?
Yeah, so they've backed up to this point here where Easy Company meet them, but they have an elevated position on Easy Company as well. They see them coming, they drop some mortars, they take out some people, and they bed down for the night.
Oh yeah, they're in a hedgerow. The Germans are in a hedgerow. It's a standoff.
You can hear them over the other side as well,
singing away.
Yeah, the rules of war as well, isn't it? It's well, like you say, not rules of war, but they have times of war. It comes nighttime. Okay, fine. Let's all recoup. Let's all get our people patched up. Get our ammo again, and then we'll go fighting in the morning, early doors.
I think that's more to do with the fact that Germans were waiting for their armour to arrive.
Yeah. That could be
that could be it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. See, proves that I've never partaken in any battle whatsoever.
Yeah, but yeah, they're Easy Company dug foxholes. They're dug into for the night. 2 man per foxhole. You got Blythe with Sergeant Martin, and they're just you got soldiers walking up and down along the line, just like keeping an eye out.
Yep.
Watching for any sneaky Germans coming and jumping over the line.
Is this one of the first lines we get from Dexter Fletcher?
What do you mean?
Well, I think we've seen him, but we haven't really seen.
I think it's the first time he speaks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've seen him around, but okay, yeah. So we got them sharing a foxhole. So what happens now then? Because something happens over in one of the other foxholes. Okay,
so you've got Private Smith, who's asleep, and you got Talbot. Sergeant Talbot comes back and taps him on the head with a revolver, saying, "Wake up! It's your turn to do a patrol." And what happens is he's still groggy, he's still asleep. Someone standing over him, possibly wearing a German poncho. We'll have to go and check that again. I don't think he's wearing a German poncho, to be honest, because I can't believe anyone would be that stupid. But still, basically wakes up, grabs his rifle, and sticks it up him. And as we know from Dad's Army, they don't like it up him.
No, definitely not. Up and at
them.
They
don't like it. Yes, up and at them. So anyway, Talbot gets stuck and starts screaming, going, ah! And Smith's all like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought he was a German.
I thought he was a crowd.
And yeah, while this is going, Martin says to Blythe, can you sleep? He goes, no. Well, go see what's making all that noise, and kicks him out.
Yeah, because they want to get their shut eye as well, don't they?
Well, they want to try to, yeah. While sleeping in a foxhole. But yeah, you got Doc Rowe comes over once again to come and fix up Talbot. But while Blythe's on his way, we jump into dun dun dun. It's Judge Spears.
Yep.
Who?
What are you doing, civilian?
It's really creepy. He comes out of you got screaming. Spears just comes out of the dark and he goes, I heard some noise, and he's just like, I've just come from there. Everything is fine. I'd swear you might think that this guy's going around killing his own men.
You could think that, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he does the cricket before as well, and then Blythe has real trouble to find the cricket or really know where he is, comprehend what's going on, to get his cricket out, or even to say Flash or Thunder.
Yeah.
And Spears ends up doing the cricket and then saying Flash, and he's, oh, Thunder, Thunder!
Yeah. But yeah, Spears kind of escorts him back to his foxhole, and Blythe effectively spills his guts to Spears about how he fell asleep in the ditch and he didn't try and find his company and everything. And then Spears imparts the wisdom that if you want to be a real soldier, you have to accept that you're dead.
Mm.
And it seems to have made an impact on him.
Yeah, it does. He also asks him about D-Day. Oh, that is because of that saying, isn't it? He says, you have to realise you're already dead. And he's like, oh, okay, well, is that what you did that on D-Day? And he doesn't say anything. He looks at him, but he doesn't say anything.
Doesn't say anything, no.
He just pulls down his helmet and walks off.
Yeah, and all the while you've got Sergeant Martin literally pissing his pants sitting next to him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But there you go. Then the next morning, the German forces let fire with mortars and machine guns and tanks.
Oh, tanks.
Goddamn tanks.
Well, it's just that they're just such a menace. They really are. They were introduced in the First World War, weren't they? Tanks, but
oh yeah. Do you know why they were called tanks?
Go on.
When it had been developed and shipped around, they were labelled as water tanks to baffle enemy intelligence as to what was being moved around.
Oh, really?
Oh yes.
Interesting, and informative as well. Well done, sir.
And now you know. And knowing is half a battle.
Exactly.
The other half is violence.
So they open up on Easy Company. Well,
and Dog Company. And Fox Company.
Yeah, everyone's there, aren't they?
Yeah.
We have mortars. We have early morning firing. And then the tanks roll in.
Machine guns. There's everything's going off, basically.
Yeah,
everything, including the kitchen sink, I'm sure.
Winters is bouncing around, telling people to push up and keep firing. And
oh yeah, he's right in the thick of it.
Yeah, but he is in the thick of it. He's standing up. He's making himself proud, and he's becoming a target as well.
He's the kind of guy, in the 40k universe, he'd either done fuck at the front holding a massive flag saying, please shoot me.
Yeah. Yeah. But he won't get shot because he...
Of course not. He has character shields.
Well, he has God mode enabled. But yeah, he's giving orders and he's really motivating everyone as well. He's got such a way of motivating people.
Oh yeah, I mean, because you got Blythe starts. He breaks down. He starts sobbing and screaming. He's having a proper breakdown there.
Yeah.
And then Winters kind of comes up and just kind of, doesn't slap him, but effectively kind of goes, get your head back together, and stands out of a foxhole above him, firing. while Blythe's down. He's going, fire your weapon, fire your weapon. So they open fire. You've got that great bit where you've got who was it? Who's it with the bazookas? It's Welsh and McGrath.
Yes.
Run out into the field of the tanks are approaching with a bazooka, totally exposed, trying to take down one of the tanks. The first shot just bounces off of it. And they're still just standing there in the middle of this field. And McGrath's going, "You're going to get me killed." And then as it comes over the next rise, they fire and it goes in the under armor of the tank, which is a weaker point.
Yeah.
Takes out the first tank, which is awesome. It's just a great shot. You got Dog and Fox Company. Run away! Run away!
Yeah, but is it Colonel Strayer? He's turned around and said, "Well, who gave that order?"
Yeah.
I don't think anyone gave that order. I'm pretty sure the German tanks dropping artillery on them gave that order to run away.
Oh, that's the problem, mate. It's if you can't hold under the fire and the line collapses like that, you allow the enemy to flank you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Easy Company is exposed because Easy hasn't retreated because they're fucking Easy Company.
Yeah.
So they're sitting there, still opening fire. Winter's standing on top of his, out of his foxhole, shooting away, with Lieutenant Walsh there and McGrath with their bazookas.
Isn't Spears from Fox Company?
No, Spears is Dog Company.
Oh, Dog Company. That's right. Yeah. Sorry.
And I'm sure he's going around personally shooting anyone he sees running away in the back of the head with a pistol.
Yeah, he's got his lawgiver on him. What's the bike that he drives?
The Lawmaster.
Well? The Lawmaster.
He's there firing away. But yeah, Easy Company's starting to take some hits. You get one of the machine gunner guys. The mortar goes off nearby them. Blows one of the guys' helmets off.
Yep.
One of the guys trying to move a machine gun takes a shot in the shoulder.
There's some fingers flying around.
Some guy loses his fingers there, which is horrible. And you kind of think, oh God, they're going to be overrun. When all of a sudden, here comes the cavalry, quite literally.
Oh, the Shermans turn up.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah,
Second armoured.
That's just after Welsh and the other guy take it out with a bazooka.
Yeah, they take out the first tank. You get the guy with a machine gun takes the round because he's bleeding there, and you feel like, oh, this is it. It's going to go down. But then all of a sudden, there's an explosion, and you realise it's someone was firing on the Germans, and then the tanks just come out over the hill, opening fire, and it's just like it's kind of terrifying when they just kind of come through the trees as well.
That's an awesome shot where you got the three tanks just flanking them, and you just anyone who doesn't watch Formula One won't get this, but that first tank, the guy on the gun on top of that, he looks like Ron Dennis to me, and he looks like he's just guiding them in. Almost, they're not even driving; they're just floating in, and they're just taking them out, and they've got such a presence about them, and. Yeah.
Although I'll tell you what, having watched Fury, they do seem to be going really slow.
Okay, yeah. I need to watch Fury again just to.
I'm saying it's a cool shot, absolutely, and again, information. There's an air of confidence, like we own this. This is our town now. Yeah. We own all of this. But there's a scene in Fury where the three Shermans get ambushed, and they're moving a hell of a lot quicker.
Right, I see, yeah. Yeah, well, tanks are always portrayed as slow and cumbersome, but they can be quick and nimble as well.
But anyway, you got the Shermans of Second Armoured coming along shooting. And the Germans are in full retreat at this point.
And Winters is still getting Blythe to stand up and shoot.
No, Blythe's already stood up at this point, and he's got his rifle up and he's looking. And he's like, again, you see the Germans retreat. You got one of the poor guys gets shot, falls down, just as the tank backs up. Obviously went to the Prometheus school of how to avoid things coming towards you.
Oh God!
Tries to crawl away rather than roll either side, and gets squished for his trouble. It's pretty grim, if I'm honest.
I had a recurring dream that happened to me.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah, that was not good.
But But anyway, Blythe's looking through his sights, and he kind of just sees a German, and he fires, and you see him get hit, but then a tank crosses his field of view, and when it passes, the German's gone. Like, you can't see him, so we don't know if he fell or what. But anyway, the Germans were in full retreat. Easy Company and Second Armored Safety Day. Fox and Dog Company come back because now it's safe to do so.
Yeah.
And you got one of the guys comes over to Blythe and says, "Hey, you guys you took a hell of a beating." And he just kind of doesn't say a word, just stares at him and gets out of his trench and walks away. Like, dick move, really.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and he goes looking for the German that he shot.
Yeah.
He finds some blood. He follows the trail, and he finds the dead German.
Yeah.
A very handsome dead German as well, with a nice smile on his face.
I'm sure his name was Hans.
Yes. And he has one of these flowers on him.
Yes, he has an Edelweiss too.
So Blythe, being, the mad soldier that he is, removes it and takes it for his own. Dick move or not?
I think it's supposed to symbolise that now he feels he is a soldier.
Okay.
He in his mind, he has become a soldier. This is, I think, the first time we've seen him kill someone.
Yeah.
So, in his mind, he's put his demons behind him, and now he's able to function.
Right. Okay, no, that makes a bit of sense then. I was just under the impression, because it's portrayed that it's such the best of the best soldiers do go and get these flowers. It's to prove that you're the ultimate soldier. And then Blythe, just because he's shot someone and now he thinks he's the ultimate badass. I don't know.
Well, they don't say ultimate. We say it's the mark of a true soldier.
Yeah.
And I suppose in Blythe's mind, the mark of a true soldier is you have killed.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, well, that makes sense then.
So anyway, he takes that. We then cut to D-Day plus 25.
Yep.
So we've jumped about 20 days ahead. And this is another weird thing again, it's like all of a sudden they're on a patrol coming up to a cabin. We want to know what's in it. So they ask for volunteers, and this time Blythe's first time, he'll do it. And Walsh is like, well, need a couple more volunteers. No one else volunteers, so he volunteers Dukeman and Martin.
Yep.
And they head off towards the cabin. It's also, we have Nixon at this point mention about why is he carrying his reserve, Welsh carrying his reserve chute around. It's because he wants a wedding dress for his wife when he gets back with his fiancée.
This was a common thing as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, because silk was being rationed and everything. So there was value. I think this has been referenced elsewhere as well. In Band of Brothers, I think someone else was doing this. Was it Welsh in the first episode? I mean, Day of Days.
I don't.
I feel someone's already drawn attention to it.
I don't remember anyone keeping their parachute.
Yeah.
I don't know. Doesn't it happen later?
I don't think so. I don't know. Anyway, kind of getting away from my own point, because what happens is, while they're having this discussion, they're going up to the cabin, Blythe in the lead, and it just has he motions for him to come forward. He gets shot in the base of the neck, which is pretty nasty, actually. It's bleeding quite a bit, and he's just lying there, kind of stunned, not quite knowing what's going on. They go in and manage to take out the cabin, and at this point, Winters comes up and says, "They're being pulled off the front line. They're heading back to England."
How's your fucking luck?
Yeah, I was going to say, dude, you could have just shot like 5 minutes earlier.
we need Sobel, hi-ho silver in it over that hill. So, no, you can go home now, guys.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, this is kind of a natural end point for the episode, but no, there's more.
Yeah.
Which is what's weird, because They now go to the hospital back in the UK, where Walter Gordon's being given his third Purple Heart.
I don't think this was the UK. I think
it was.
I think this was more near Normandy, because they didn't fly back to. Yeah, I don't think this was the UK. I think this was more Normandy, because they didn't go back to the UK.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure Lipton said that. No, you're not going back to England. Get ready.
No, that was no. I when he says you're not coming back, it's they were back in England, and they said we're leaving, and pack your stuff because we won't be coming back for a while.
Right. Okay.
Well, we won't be coming back.
Okay. No, I get confused with this, because it seems like it is set, but it doesn't. Because we're told where we are all the time, we don't get told we're back in England. And so,
well, you got the laundry people though.
Yeah, that's the thing. But we don't get told we are.
We don't get told, but I think we must be, because not only are they back in, is she British, but she has the laundry from the lieutenant from HQ. What's his name?
Sears. No, Sears.
Not Sears. The HQ lot. Meehan.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, kind of getting wherever they are, they're in the hospital, and he's getting his third Purple Heart. Popeye's still there, lying on his front, as Blythe's been wheeled in, and Popeye mentions that Gordon, because he got shot in the shoulder, once in the calf, and he had a boil lanced. I'm not quite sure why the boil lancing qualifies you for a Purple Heart, because I'm pretty sure you're only eligible if it's from enemy. If you're injured for enemy action,
right?
Because we find out that Talbot getting stabbed wouldn't be eligible because it was friendly fire.
Yeah.
Anyway, Blythe's just staring with a blank expression, and that's the last time we see Blythe in the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got the 101st arresting. You got Malarkey and Moore riding around on a joyride on a motorcycle, as you do,
and nearly taking each other out. Crying out loud.
Nearly taking each other out. Yeah. We meet up with Easy Company, who are just kind of relaxing in a barn, it's Gordon again with his 3 Purple Hearts reciting poetry about the Knight of a Bayonet, about how Talbot got stabbed by Smith, which was it's a very nice rhyme, it must be said.
Which I think is genius as well.
It's genius. It's very funny. It's cool. We also, our first sign of replacements, who will be the feature in the next episode.
Yeah.
Again, just kind of introducing people a bit earlier. We already get the sense that they're their own little clique at the minute. But then Garnier says he recognises one of them's accent. He goes, "Are you from Philadelphia?" "Yeah, I can tell. 17th Street?" "And I'm from Front Street." And he invites that guy over to join them because they're from the same part of town.
Yeah.
Having fun. But yeah, Gordon gives Talbot one of his Purple Hearts, since he wouldn't have been eligible because it was friendly fire.
Which I think is a brilliant gesture.
Oh, it's a great little gesture, yeah. And again, since one of them was for a boil being lanced, I think perfectly apt.
Yes, definitely.
Lipton then we see has recovered more or less. He's got a little bit of a scar on his face, but otherwise okay. Informs everyone that I have good news and bad news. The good news is the training exercise for tonight has been cancelled.
Hooray!
The bad news is we're going back to France and pack your gear because we're not coming back to England. So, woo. Which kind of sucks. You then get Malarkey, who's now a sergeant, going to go and collect the laundry. And she says, well, here you go. And then they're like, well, while you're here, would you mind picking up some other laundry? And Sergeant Evans, Private Moyer, Private Bluser, Private Gray, Private Miller, Sergeant Owen. Basically, a lot of people who have died, finally mentioning Blythe as well.
Yeah.
And poor Malarkey gets stuck with a bill for all of this. That's kind of a dick move, but still, he pays it. he pays the bill anyway, and off he goes. And then we get a line about how that when Easy were pulled off the line, they had lost 65 men.
Jesus.
Yeah, 65 men in effectively 25 days. But it does then say Blythe never recovered from his wound and died in 1948. However, he didn't actually die until 1967.
That's right, yeah.
But I believe Winters believed he died in 48, but it was only later they found out he died in 67. But there we go. I thought it was written in the book. So.
I think this was from who wrote the book? Stephen Ambrose.
Yeah.
I think this was from the books.
Yeah.
And it was corrected in later books, but it wasn't corrected in the DVDs or Blu-rays or anything like that was put out. It was never corrected in that. But I think Easy Company thought that he had died, and so that is it became gospel.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But really, I think he died of what I read today. He died of a perforated ulcer.
Yep.
I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
In 1967, he'd gone back for a memorial at some point, and it had burst. So yeah, he made it. He had kids as well, so yeah, he made it out the war. I think he served again at some other points as well, but I couldn't be too sure on that. But yeah, it's the way. The heart-rendering part about this thing is when Malarkey is going to get the packages, and it's and is it Mrs. Lamb? I think she's introduced as. It's okay. Well, here's yours, and could you go? It's just the way that Malarkey looks at him and goes, "Okay, you've done all this work, and so really, I should kind of." Take this off of you. I
don't think it was about the work. I think it was just more he didn't want to have he didn't want to acknowledge they were dead, or at least not say it out loud.
Not have that conversation.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But it's so softly done, and then all of a sudden the viewer is watching this going, oh dear, we know exactly where this is going. And it ends up with Blythe as well, so It's a tearjerker, shall we say?
Oh yeah, cool. It's again, it's a powerful statement, and I like it. I just feel that the episode as a whole was just largely undercut because we just don't get to know Blythe.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, it doesn't even kind of end right because we see him in the hospital, and then there's a whole couple more scenes afterwards. And I know it's supposed to be implied that he died because his laundry is one of the ones that Malarkey's collecting.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. It could have landed so much better, you know.
Yeah.
Just from a couple of scenes in the first two episodes to just bring him in a bit more, you know.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose. The problem is the dates dictate that this episode had to be now.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I'm not criticising that as such. And I know it's difficult if you say, well, why couldn't you have a couple of scenes in these other episodes? Well, something else would have had to come out. But I just feel that if they knew this was going to be the third episode, if they knew they were going to be doing this focus, it would have just served them well to just introduce him to us a bit earlier. And it doesn't have to be a lot. It could have just been a scene or something where we find out that Blythe is quiet and introspective, even in basic.
Mm.
So we get that sense of him. You know, maybe he's a guy who was often wistfully looking at the sky in Georgia.
Yeah.
And just something like that, just so we've seen him earlier. Or again, if he, well, not that you can really change the facts, but again, if he hadn't been in Easy Company, if he'd have been in one of the other companies, and then you have a sense of, oh, we don't know him. But because everyone knows him and everyone has a connection to him already, but we, the audience, haven't, it's just a bit disconcerting.
Yeah, it misses its mark ever so slightly.
Yeah.
they are allowed to muck around with truths and where people sit, and so there wouldn't have been much of an issue about moving him to a different company, or is it insulting to move him just to a different company just for story purposes? Maybe it is.
I think it is, and again, I just think I think the way to have dealt with this would have been to just I mean, hell, you could have just, like I said, just taken that shot of him looking again, just put in a shot in Day of Days of him asleep in the trench.
Yeah,
just you could just have had a couple of bits which just kind of just tie him into the earlier story, because as it is, he just feels like he's a guest star for this episode.
Yeah,
that wouldn't
even been 30 seconds, would it? It would have been 10 seconds at the most.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, yeah, there we go. We've sorted that issue out then.
There you go.
That is it for Carentan.
That is it.
So, okay. We do have some feedback, which is always nice. I'm going to hit you. We've got 3 bits of feedback. So, I'm going to hit you with the first bit, if you don't mind.
Oh. Hit me with your rhythm stick.
This is from Doreen Kelly.
Keldor.
Yeah, the Shonky Lab mascot as well. So she says, Flash! Hello again. The cinematography in this is gorgeous. It seems odd to write. This story of war and its horrors has some striking backdrops. I'm referring to the scenes near the beginning where they're all on a night march. There seems to be some kind of forest fire on the skyline. The soldiers are marching through swampy land with the standing water in which the flames are reflected. My first reflection was how stunning the visuals were, and then felt really bad, which I totally agree with. The story about the Edelweiss flower.
Edelweiss.
That's it, sorry. Which they find in the dead German soldier buttonhole was haunting and beautiful, and the telling of it was pitch perfect. However, being female, I think that it may have been a little unrealistic. When I was little, I used to pick flowers. Even when they were put into water, they never looked that good in the morning. Okay, I get that. I get that. When I buy my missus flowers, all of a sudden they're very droopy the next day. That's not that I buy petrol station flowers or anything like that. So anyway, I'm digressing again. Does anyone know if they use some kind of preservatives or something? Answers on the Facebook group. Oh, and whilst I'm on the subject, I would ask others to add a 5-star review to iTunes and other podcast catchers. Yes, certainly. Oh boy, the scenes of the leg being blown off were quite something, and I think that I'll leave that one there. I feel that the Blythe situation requires comment. I don't feel qualified to do so, but his bravery in volunteering to scout out the farmhouse was absolutely real, and no one could take that from him. Remember to use the flash thunder greeting whenever it was to stop someone you wake up and attacking you. It is anyone's guess, but hopefully in the more often it is used, the more automatic it will become. I enjoyed the bit in the mass near the end when the injured man with the 3 purple hearts was given the limerick-filled speech, which ended with him giving the purple heart to the man who was injured, but not by the enemy. Okay, I'm sure that I've actually seen this before. The man being run over by the tank, it would be hard to forget, or perhaps I'm just seeing it with new eyes. I wonder if the BBC edited this a little. In the Saving Private Ryan cast, Elton and Andy, you talked briefly about the scene in the church, which happened in later scenes, which I'm sure I've seen. The laundry roll call of the dead injured was tragic. Thunder! Thunder! Look after yourselves. And there we go. That's from Doreen.
Thank you, Doreen.
Yeah, the tank piece that we saw. I know I've had reoccurring dreams about this when I was younger, but I was laying on my back being run over by the tank, not on my stomach. So, but I swear that might even be from Anzacs too. It is familiar.
Well, it is also in Last Crusade.
Yeah, you have that as well.
Put it this way: any film where there's a tank in it, odds are someone's going to get run over.
Yeah, it's normally a Nazi that gets run over as well.
Yeah, usually.
I'm sure. Anyway, But okay, fine. Who do you have?
I have Josh Bruins.
Okay.
I think I'm saying that right.
If we're not, let us know.
If not, do let us know. Yes, angry letters on the Facebook group. And Josh writes, "Hey fellas, hope I catch you in time. I know you're recording today. Well, congratulations, sir. You have. There is much to love about this episode. The action is, of course, fantastic, and what we see of Easy's battle inside and outside the city are intense. The way the episode, in a sense, centered around Private Blythe without really making it about him, adds to an incredibly human and tragic layer to a story already with its share of tragedies. There's a lot of great moments, but without a doubt, one which hits home for me is when Spears is talking to Blythe and tells him, the only hope you have is to accept the fact you're already dead. It's an extreme but real view. When I was in Afghanistan, one of my sergeants would refer to these lines often. He was a family man and a great around person, but that was the view on his deployment. And every time we got back to the States, he would just sort of pack it away in a dark corner somewhere inside and go back to being normal. Excellent work on the podcast, gentlemen. Looking forward to this one. Keep it up. Josh."
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much, sir. Yes. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've heard that from other veterans and everything as well. They have ways of dealing with it, be it from a certain mindset.
Going back to civvies.
Well, it's more so, the whole accepting that you're dead sort of thing. That kind of. I mean, the military, certainly the British military. I don't know if it's the same in the US, but they have the blackest humour. Yeah, like it is dark as anything, because it's how they get through. Gallows humour and stuff like that. There, and often cases, and it's certainly become more apparent in recent time, partly because so many young men are coming back from these wars, but also because we're so much better now at identifying and treating these things, have so much trouble when they get back from deployments and all this, because they go to very dark places out there, and it's very hard to come back from those places. Yeah. Going back to being normal. Note the finger quotes there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's a Shonky Lab episode for you at some point.
Oh, that's cool. Do I dare even touch that? That's the thing.
Hey, mate, you did fantastically well with the depression episode, which anyone listening out there, check that episode of Shonky Lab out. It was amazing. But you've got the skills and the maturity to deal with it. If you can find some people willing to talk, I think it would make for a fantastic episode. Okay. But put a pin in that for later.
Yeah, I'll put that on the cards at some point. Okay. It's even watching Generation Kill, that has gallows humour strewn all the way through it as well. And I think it's just a way of dealing with things and a way of life, and it becomes so ingrained that it becomes a point where it's not a way of dealing with it, it's just the way that you are. Yeah. And that's what you become when you're on duty. But I haven't served, so I do not know. The closest I got to serving was joining the ATC when I was still at school. And didn't take that any further. So I've done my share of night operations as a kid, but
you've done your bit for king and country, eh?
I'd like to think so, but I'm sure my granddads are both spinning in their graves with what they went through. That's another story. So anyway, thank you very much for that, Josh.
Yes, thank you.
We do have a note on the Facebook group as well. Normally, when I put up the header picture for the next episode, if you want to leave messages below there about the episode that we're going to be talking about, just pop along to facebook.com and then search for Band of Brothers podcast, and we'll pop up straight away on that. So, Donna Lubston. Oh, no.
Lumsden.
Donna Lumsden has left a message on there, and she says, R.I.P. Sergeant Ed Tipper, who died just last month. We see Tipper seriously wounded and being helped by Joe Libgott in this episode during the battle to take Carentan.
That's the one in the pharmacy which blows up.
Yeah, that's the guy with the eyes and the legs. And,
Yeah.
Okay. The muffling of the sound and the point of view used in this scene means it's seared into my brain. Even though there was action and death in Day of Days, somehow this episode brought home more than the terror of the attacking enemy forces. That run to the T-junction in Carentan. Sorry, I always balls up reading out feedback, so you're going to have to get used to that. That's the way it is on here. But thank you very much for that. I didn't realise he'd... is that the chat that I posted up a little while ago?
I think it might well have been, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was just before we really kicked off, wasn't it?
That's right. Yes, it was. Yes, so I did post it up there. Okay, cool. Wow. Yes.
95 years old. So yeah, well done, that man.
And definitely, yeah, that run to the T-junction in Carentan. Wow.
Yeah.
How do you even do that? I do not know. I really don't. Okay, so next time out, what we got next time out? We have the episode called Replacements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this episode, I don't know if it jars me or not. We get we get the English accents coming back in this one.
We do.
By Jove, I can't see them.
Have you ever seen the film A Bridge Too Far?
I may have.
Well, you should, because it's a fantastic film, and it has everyone is in it. Gene Hackman is in it. Michael Caine's in it. I think Sean Connery's in it. It's like literally everyone is in this bloody film. And it's about Operation Market Garden, which was the Allied invasion. They tried to do D-Day again in the Netherlands with a mass parachute drop.
Okay.
Didn't go quite to plan. Snafu.
Yes.
If you remember. But yeah, I remember enjoying this episode because a lot of it was focusing around Sergeant Bull Randleman, who's... I just like the character. He's always got a cigar in his mouth.
Abraham, that's who he is from The Walking Dead. Abraham. I've just remembered.
But yeah, also it's dealing with the whole, you got new people coming in. So you got the kind of the clique. You got those who served through Normandy and those who didn't. And you're getting kind of like a butting of heads of some sort of divisions going on there. Yeah,
there's a hierarchy that is forcing its way through, even though they don't want that to force its way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember enjoying this episode, but I feel I may have seen this episode one too many times. I think I enjoy Carentan more than Replacements.
Okay.
But you know, that's yet to be seen. I'm looking forward to watching this again. So we'll be recording in 2 weeks' time.
That's the plan.
That is the plan.
As we know, no plan survives contact with the enemy.
This is true. Yes, it is true. If you want to leave feedback for us like the other chaps done, then either pop along to the Facebook group and leave it on there. Just make sure that we know that it is for reading out on the episode, or me stuttering all over it and screwing it all up. Or you can either you can leave audio comments as well. You can email them over to rogue2media@gmail.com, or you can send an email over to rogue2media@gmail.com, and we'll get them and we'll pass them out and read them out as best as our ability lets us. So that is it for this week. Do you have anything to plug and let these wonderful people know what they should be listening to after this?
Oh, well, as we've already mentioned, the other podcast I do is Space Talk Jury, which you can find at space.geekplanetonline.com and also on the Book of Face and iTunes. And this week's one, which just came out, which will probably be last week's one from the time this comes out, we rate all the Star Wars films and in no way have a massive argument about stuff.
Sweet.
Because we don't do that at all on Space Stock.
No, not much.
Spoiler alert for the main episode, which comes a couple of weeks' time. I broke Lee.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Does this require either some making up or does it require a pub episode?
I think it requires me hopping on a ship and getting to the other side of the galaxy.
Okay, fair enough.
But you'll have to wait a few weeks for that one.
Okay, excellent. I'm looking forward to that. I'll be listening to the Star Wars episode. Is it out now?
It is out now, yes.
Okay,
As we record, it is out now, yes.
I'll be listening to that tomorrow morning on my way to work. Me, on the other hand, I do the Grand Prix podcast with this other man over here, with Andy.
Yes. And we will be doing an episode soon because testing is on.
Yes, testing is on. We have a little competition that we have to wrap up as well. So if you want to head over there, go to grandprixpodcast.com. We talk about Formula One. That's all we talk about, and maybe some other silly little stuff over there. But it's mainly Formula One. If you don't like it, just steer clear. Maybe drop a 5-star rated iTunes review and then disappear. That'll do me. I'm also the fourth chair on the Black Dog podcast, which is blackdogpodcast.com. And that's all on iTunes and Stitcher and all other places as well. That's a film review show. Please check out Hypnobobs, which is on Geek Planet Online and on iTunes and all the other places as well. And I do the Shonky Lab, which is at shonkylab.com and on iTunes and all the other places as well that you can catch these, and on Rogue 2 Media as well. So, by the way, if you do have 5 minutes, as Doreen said, please pop along to iTunes. Just help us up the magical ladder that we have and leave a review on there just to help us out and be nice. So thank you very much anyway. So that's it, isn't it? I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, excellent. Well,
I think we've ticked all our boxes and everything.
Sweet. We've sold our wares and now we can move on. So on to your next show that you're listening to. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening to us. Thank you to Andy for joining me as per normal and putting up with me.
You're welcome, sir.
And we'll catch you next time for Replacements. Until then, ta-da.
Don't get me wrong, there's some great bits in there, but the Battle of Carentan is great. I mean, it reminded me so much of the end of Saving Private Ryan. Mm-hmm. And there's beautiful moments. And I mean, I tell you what, bits when... who's the guy who takes a medical shot to the face? I can't remember his name now.
Is it... Oh, hang on. I've got his name written down somewhere. Tipper or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that for me had more emotional impact just from when... the other guys come up to him and they walk around the corner and they're just shocked and they're like holding him and everything, and it's like that had so much more impact than everything that happened at Blythe, because I knew these guys. Mm-hmm. I spent time. I got a sense of who they were, and it just felt more real. Whereas everything with Blythe just felt a little bit dreamlike, you know. I mean, to be perfectly honest, until I knew this episode was coming up, I'd completely forgotten about him as a character. He just doesn't have any impact over the course of a series because he's in it so briefly. Maybe
it would have paid to, as you say, drop him in on the first or second episode. Just a glimpse, even just to see him land.
Just a couple of instances I think would have gone a long way, to help us. I mean, you've got, what's his name, Luz doing the impressions and all that. And we didn't see him in Day of Days, but we saw him in Curahee.
Yeah.
So that's fine. All of a sudden, I remember you. You did a fun thing with in the first episode. You did the voices. Okay, fine. I've seen you at play. I know everyone knows you. I know there's a connection there. That would have had more impact. But I mean, Blythe is just a bit bland. And again, nothing against. The guy playing him, who was it? It was Mark Warren. Mark Warren does a great job. Mm. It feels almost like they've squeezed the story arc down to just do one episode with him, just so they can get it done, get him out, and be done with it.
Yeah, I feel he's... Hello everyone, welcome to the Band of Brothers podcast. I'm Elton, this is Andy.
Hello.
And we have got Karen... I always mispronounce this. Carentan. Carentan. There we go.
Well, it's French though, isn't it? So it's Carentan. Carentan.
Right, goodbye to our French listeners as well. Excellent. Yes, so we've got this to cover. This is part 3, if I'm rightly... thinking
well, it's our
it.
4th podcast, but it's part 3 of Band of Brothers.
Yes, yeah. That's the way we fly at the moment. All
fuck yeah,
hunky-dory and higgledy-piggledy all over the place, but who cares? We are not specialists in the military.
The enemy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We are not specialists. We have not served, but we are just fans of this show. I feel like I need to say that, just in case, just to cover our asses sometimes. You never know when the next sniper is out there.
I was going to say, yeah, you say you cover your ass, but you might get a Purple Heart.
Oh, yeah. Bit like Popeye. Did he get a Purple Heart? He must have. He must have.
He was shot by the enemy. Yeah, he must have done.
Yeah. Just didn't see it. Just didn't see it.
Oh, well. Didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Oh, well. Right, okay.
Straight up Main Street.
Initial impressions of Carentan. Or Carentan. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to go with my stupid English accented way. Carentan.
Are you asking me?
Yes, I am.
I remember this being my least favourite episode of Band of Brothers, and I'd probably stand by it. There's good bits in this.
He's a trailer for the story of the stress disorder.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I totally think it's worthwhile having that story told and having that aspect to be explored. It's just because we haven't seen this guy, he just comes across as a coward, as someone with no guts or anything like that. His whole hysterical blindness thing. Because we haven't seen him bonding with people, we haven't gotten the impression that they like him or dislike him or what have you. We haven't seen how did... what's his name? Sobel. Did Sobel bully him and all this? We haven't gotten any sense of how he interacts with the rest of Easy Company until now, and it's weird. It's like all of a sudden you've turned up for Christmas dinner, and there's an uncle sitting at the table. Everyone seems to get on and say, yeah, they know his uncle, but you've never seen him in your life, and you're like going, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been, if someone has seen him, seen Blythe in the first 2 episodes, then please let us know, point it out, or just give us a frame number or a count number where we can actually find him. But we've seen Fassbender in this more times than Blythe. Mm-hmm. So
we saw Simon Pegg more times than we've seen Blythe.
Yeah, this is true, yeah. And so it's a clunky gear change. Mm-hmm. It's one I feel we need, because we need to know how the soldiers are feeling.
Absolutely, but I just feel it could be better served by telling the story with some of the other members of Easy Company.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's kind of stymied by we're following the book Band of Brothers, and Winters wrote about Blythe in this chapter or whatever. You know, he mentioned it. But I just feel because they haven't taken the time earlier to introduce the character and let us meet him and get to know him, I have no emotional investment in him.
Yeah.
It's like as soon as we see him, it's like, okay, what's your story? But do you want me to get into why I don't particularly like this, or do you want me to just leave it at that?
Go for it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So my biggest problem with this basically is Albert Blythe, because this is really the first time we've been introduced to him. And the thing is, they went to all that trouble of introducing the characters and everything in Cure here at the beginning, and so we got to know them, we got a bit of a sense about them, and then they just drop us in with Albert Blythe in this episode, and we don't see him again after this episode, and it almost felt like he was just, guest of the week. It's like an episode of The Next Generation, and today we're following Ensign Timmy on his rounds around Deck 6.
Okay.
And all your favourite cast are still there. There's Captain Picard, there's Riker, but they just kind of walk by and say hello and they're off. And I'm like, no, I want to go and see what they're doing. I want to go and see I want to go that way. But no, we're following Albert Blythe. And it's an interesting story. The aspects about post-traumatic stress disorder and, or shell shock and stuff like that, I think that's interesting and definitely worth looking into and exploring. I just think that because it was with someone we just haven't had a chance to get to know, the impact's gone. It's wasted in that respect. Imagine if they'd have just, even if it's a couple of scenes in Cure where you see him in basic, we just touch base with him on Day of Days, and we see his drop, and the bit when he talks about falling asleep. If we could have just seen these moments and then come to this, it would have had a much greater impact, I think, and would have been meaningful. But it just felt a bit disjointed because we start off on the 6th on the drop itself when he's there staring at the parachute. Then we jump to 6 days past and Carentan and all that, and then at the end we do this weird 25 days later jump, and it just felt really bitty and disjointed.
Yeah.
So that's I mean it's just the whole episode just feels a bit uneven.
Yeah. I get it. I get why you feel like that as well.
By the end of it, you're like, okay, he's out, and that's it.
Yeah,
it matters not an iota. I've got no real investment there.
Yeah, if that had been carried over maybe 2 episodes, then we would have grown to become attached to him a little bit more. Well,
yeah, even if they'd have just dropped the scenes from earlier on into Day of Days, so when they first meet up with him, and just kind of, even if he was just in there and it carried over into here, it'd probably have had more of an impact than what it has. But yeah, after, again, it's always going to have a hard job following Day of Days, because Day of Days is just such a fucking powerful episode.
Yeah, it's just a kick in the groin, isn't it? It really is.
And then even when you get over to the next episode, the next episode, again, it's got, you're with familiar characters. And in the next episode, they deal with introducing new characters a lot better, because they're characters that are going to be throughout the series to an extent. But this one, it's a weird little, it's just, I don't want to say a misstep, because I think that's wrong. It's just a weird tonal shift compared to what we've seen on the other episodes.
Yeah.
Incidentally, you forgot to mention about the veterans at the beginning, just in case that was going to be a thing.
No, we haven't got onto that yet. We're just doing
okay.
Initial
we're just
thoughts.
doing the impressions. Okay.
I like your arse covering, though. That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
You're going to get a purple heart one with the other.
Yeah. Why not? My initial thoughts. I am a little bit like you. It is a clunky gear change for me, where we haven't been really introduced to this guy up until the point where we see him staring up at the sky, and it is like a Monster of the Week episode.
What's even weirder as well is that he's part of Easy Company. If he was one of the other companies who kind of got subpoenaed into Easy, like we saw with the radio operator, Able Company, last time out, I'd have been more forgiving about that then, because it'd be a case of, okay, he's a stranger, he doesn't know these people, but he's been forced to be here. But no, he's part of Easy Company. But this is the first time we're meeting him.
He's part of Easy, but